Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to Circling Seattle Sports. This is a Kraken at Carolina Hurricanes game reaction. I almost said instant, but it's not obviously instant. This is a tough one to quantify for Seattle. I mean, they go in here to Carolina, they get the first two goals of the game, um, kind of let a weird one in on the third goal, and then eventually Carolina makes the late push in the third period and is able to go ahead there. To go ahead, force the overtime period. And then Seattle has some opportunities in overtime, not able to convert them. Martin Necas caps a 3-point night and scores the overtime game winner on a screen. Joey to Cord. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. You know, Talking about Joey, I think we should start there. Normally, with these reactions, we've got our goaltender segment where we'll look at the starting goaltender. I mean, he's our player of the game. Just Joey set a franchise record with 42 saves in this game. He was peppered throughout the course of the night. Kind of started by Seth Jarvis had a breakaway in that first period before either team had gotten on the board. Um, and Joey was ready from the start. That first goal wasn't really on him. Uh, Decord had played a puck back off the boards behind the goal to find Brian Dumoulin, just to kind of get things going and get the puck out of their own defensive zone with nobody around him. Dumoulin blows a tire, falls on his behind, and the puck is given up in the high danger area to Carolina, and I think he makes the initial save, but then yeah, it was just immediately tough to ask Joey to make that sort of save there. So puts him in a tough position, puts a little bit of a damper as on that period, late into late into that frame, because the Kraken had scored two goals in that first frame. We'll get to that in a second. But no, otherwise, the second period was scoreless. He continued to look rock solid. Was taking care of his rebounds, not giving up any sort of free ones, nothing to come up and put home for Carolina. They put on constant pressure. Their heat map was all over the offensive zone. It was tough. You know, you're not going to create more pressure than Carolina. It's really unlikely. Um, but you know, so it's tough to do that. He faced a franchise record 65 unblocked shot attempts. It's pretty ridiculous to look at that. Um, it's the second quality start of his young season, and I had some questions about him coming into this year. Is he going to be able to handle the sort of NHL workload that this tandem might ask of him? Philip Grubauer will obviously, as long as he stays healthy, knock on the woods again. Um, will take up the majority of those starts. But can Joey take the rest? Are they going to need to bring up someone else? Right now, at least it looks like that's not going to be the case. Joey, this was the second straight game that he started. He looked strong throughout the course of the game. He was rock solid. He was rock solid. He was Seattle's MVP in this game, no question. Our goal scorer, first goal scorer, and player that had a hand in both goals, had a solid effort. But in terms of impact over the entirety of the game, Joey Decord, no question. So, I mean, I can't say enough about his effort in this one to stop that many shots, face the franchise record and unblocked shot attempts. It's tough. It's really tough to go out and ask him to do that, but he was rock solid. It gives me hope going out through the rest of the course of the season on what he's going to be able to do. But yeah, it's really tough to have this one sting, and a lot of those three goals, I can't really blame him because I talked about the first one. Dumoulin blows a tire, falls over on the second one, the one that equalizes late into the third period. Jordan Eberle loses possession in Seattle's offensive zone. I believe it was Brady Shea brings the puck down the course of the ice, and Seattle's defensemen come back to deal with that rush, but the forwards don't. So you deal with the initial first few efforts. Shea tries to find Nietzsche on the other side of the ice, cross ice pass, fine. They're able to deal with that. Nietzsche doesn't really have that good of a shot unless he wants to go backhand. That would have been really tough. Otherwise, though, they had that all cleared up. They had that all handled. Then comes the rest of the Carolina skaters, and it's shoot, who was it? Kokaniemi, yes, Jesperi Kokaniemi was trailing the play, was right in the slot, and could do whatever he wants. Jacord's on one end of this goal. As soon as he has to go back to deal with Kokaniemi, it was all just too late, and we're tied. I mean, there was a little bit of time left in this game, but neither team really was able to do much to get the final goal. Then in the overtime period, um, Seattle had a few chances, like I said. The court was screened though on that final attempt, and Nietzsche was able to get that one through. So I can't really blame Joey on any of those, quite frankly. That was really tough for him. To go over and look at Oliver Bjorkstrand had a goal and an assist in this one. He assisted on Devin Shore's goal, his first goal in a Seattle uniform. Both of these coming in the first period. The first goal, those first two goals were excellent. Seattle looked good early on. They were looking to keep up this sort of streak that they've got to begin the year, where their first periods are hot and they look good, which they've had for the majority of these games that they've played early into the 2023-24 campaign. Um, Oliver Bjorkstrand, his first goal was really fun because he comes on for his shift and he's instantly ready for a pass. He goes, kind of catches Carolina off guard, it seems, because he just immediately attacks Brent Burns. He does a nice little move, front hand, backhand, creates just enough space for him to fire off a shot on a returning Frederick Anderson, and beats him glove side. Like, okay, we've seen this sort of talent, this sort of skill from Oliver Bjorkstrand. He is nicknamed the Maestro. Um, so it's not necessarily surprising, but it was like, oh, okay. We've got on the board, especially with the offensive struggles that Seattle has had to begin the year. It was nice to see this sort of thing. And this sort of talent, this sort of skill, this sort of production potentially for Bjorkstrand would be huge for the Kraken moving forward. Besides the point, we move on. The Devin Shore goal, a little over 3 minutes later. Oh, sorry. Thunderbirds game's going on as I'm recording this. A little over 3 minutes later into the game, Bjorkstrand and Devin Shore kind of link up for a nice play. Devin Shore breaks up a pass in his own defensive zone, gets it to Bjorkstrand. Shore books it up the ice, books it up towards the goal. Bjorkstrand kind of hangs out as it looks like he was looking for a change of sorts, but he's able to find Shore up the ice for a 70-foot play. Shore front hand, backhand, 5-hole under Anderson for the nice goal. Looked excellent. Looked absolutely excellent. It was nice for Shore to get on the board. Nice to see him wash up there on that one. And think, okay, wow. Despite Carolina putting up the amount of shots and generating the amount of pressure that they have early on into this game, it was Seattle who had the 2-goal lead. And it was nice to see Bjorkstrand make those plays. If it were not for the historic play of Joey Decord in this one, I would have gone with Bjorkstrand. But that wasn't the case. You look at the stats here. The shots stick out. Face off, sure. Penalty minutes. I mean, it was nice for Seattle to not deal with the penalties. Carolina draws the second most penalties per game in this season so far, early on at 5. And the Kraken were able to stay disciplined. Only took the one penalty. Fine. Penalty kill. Killed that. Their one power play. It's kind of hard for me to get upset at the one power play. I guess we'll quickly go over to the special teams. It's hard to, one power play, it's hard for me to get upset at it. And especially as with a team as skilled as Carolina, I'm much happier with the fact that, you only gave them the one kill. Well, you only gave them the one power play and your kill came through. Happy with that. Not much to look at in the special teams department. This game was 5-on-5, which is fun considering how much talent both teams have to go at each other 5-on-5. Which is interesting that, it was low scoring as it was. The hits and the blocks, it's nice to see Seattle continue to block shots. Their season average isn't great. They're kind of middle of the pack towards the lower end of the NHL in terms of block shots per game early into this season, but it's nice to see them doing that, doing the sort of lunch pail work that's necessary to win these heavy games. The shots, though, the shot differential was big. I mean, Carolina was just throwing everything at the court and the Seattle Kraken in this one. And ultimately, Seattle just went scoreless from the first period on. They generated some nice chances towards the end of the third period. Matty Beniers hit the pipe, pardon me, on a nice feed, but In the third period, they done what they have done in the first two overtimes this season in St. Louis. That game eventually went to a shootout, and then the Detroit win the other day on Tuesday against the Red Wings in the win. They held onto the puck. They held onto the puck. They said, "Hey, we're going to take our chances. If we don't like the look that we're getting, going to circle back and try to reload and reset." And they were able to do that a little bit. Carolina had first sort of possession of this puck. Seattle had a few chances, nothing too great though to beat Anderson. I know he's coming back off an injury, but still a solid goaltender. Um, and ultimately weren't able to get by. That third goal, tough, as I mentioned. It was interesting on that third goal because Carolina comes down, right? And Matty Beniers kind of pokes at a puck from Nietzsche's as he makes the pass. He pokes at that puck and then he goes down to try and chase that, and it leaves Nietzsche's open. So the initial poke by Beniers left Adam Larson on the ice in a little bit of a 2-on-1 situation, which is tough. You know, it's overtime, 2-on-1, down near your own goal. It's really tough. 2-on-1, both forwards on the ice at the time, Yanni Gordon, Matty Beniers, crash down to those two Canes skaters, leaving Nietzsche's open up near the point. Uh, yeah, and that was just a dangerous situation from that point on, as Nietzsche was able to get a screener in front of the cord, bide his time, find a shot, and then score the game winner. So it's a tough game to lose against. It's a tough game to lose. Not tough considering who you lost to. Tough considering how it came about. The fact that you scored the first two goals and then couldn't score anything after that. Tough considering that you had a great performance from your goaltender. So uh, you're happy that you got the 1 point. You're happy that they got you one hit. You got the 1 point, but you know the little things that you could be doing, the little things that made this loss. None of those goals were Carolina flashing great ability. Those three goals that they scored were all sort of Seattle making the mistakes and a good Hurricanes team taking advantage of them. So tough one to lose. Fine with the point. To come out of these first two games of this road trip against a Red Wings team that's been hot to start the year and a Hurricanes team that looks to be finding themselves after a 3-game losing streak that was started back in Seattle when these teams first met earlier in the season. Um, I'll take the 3 points for the first two games, but you're not going to have easy challenges to end out this second road trip on the year because you go and play the Florida Panthers next on Saturday in their house. Florida has won 3 of their last 4, last beating the San Jose Sharks. I don't think they have a game tonight. Nope, they do not. Okay, all good. Um, yeah, and the Hurricanes have now won. Hurricanes won tonight as well, so not going to be easy. Philip Grubauer likely in net tomorrow. After I doubt you have Joey go 3 straight nights. That would be 3 straight games. I thought about this earlier in the season before they won their first game. Seattle is doing things well, doing things that you want to see them doing late in the season. It's just the offensive production hasn't been there. You've got solid goaltending, which is weird for this franchise. I know. Um, Penalty kill has been really solid. You got to get the power play going. That will help you greatly. Again, not too much to take from this game when you only got the one power play chance, but generating offensively, it's got to be better. They generated a little bit in this game, but it wasn't nearly enough. So next game, I believe this is a 3 p.m. puck drop on Root Sports. If you're in the state of Washington, if you are national, it's going to be on ESPN Plus. 3-3 Florida team. Again, they've won 3 of their last 4. So, we've seen especially just look at what they did last year. So it's going to be tough. But Seattle, if they can continue to build off what they're already doing and add to that, you should feel confident in what they're going to be able to do.